Okay, let's check out a system that will set you back $3.6 million. It was in the biggest room in the fair, and still, when you got in, you could not even see the system. People were standing, holding up their phones high in order to get a glimpse of the system. So I thought, well, let's do the same. And when you do that, you are greeted by two big round things and a big rack with a lot of equipment. So I tried to get a little bit closer, but still that wasn't perfect, and I was standing in the middle of the walkway, people going up and down. So I just decided to go and sit right in the middle at the red dot and the big carpet. When you are sitting in front of the system, you are greeted by this intimidating rack with 25 pieces of equipment. What are all these for? Well, I'll break it down for you in a second, but first let's have a look at the loudspeaker. Okay, let's break this thing down. There's a sub bass, there is a bass, mid bass, mid range, tweeter and a super tweeter. So this is a 6-way system. The sub bass you see at the rear, the 3 subwoofers, they go up to 50 Hz. Those are cone speakers, the rest are horn speakers, and there's 2 tweeters and 2 super tweeters. So now that we know how many drivers there are, we can have a look at the equipment and what it's for. So as I said, this is a 6-way system. Now the sub bass, the subwoofers, they have their own amplifiers, so we are left with a 5-way system, because every horn has its own amplifier. We have 2 channels, left and right, so we need 10 amplifiers. So on top of the amplifiers we have 5 power supplies, not for the amplifiers but for the equipment above them. So these 5 separate power supplies are for the equipment that stands right above it. So we go from left to right. We have a 5-way crossover, active crossover for all the horns of the left channel. Then we have a DA converter for the CD player. Then we have the control for the CD player. Then we have a preamplifier, and we have the right channel active 5-way crossover. And on the top row in the middle we have the CD player, which is only a CD transport, and the tweeters and the super tweeters are actually field coil drivers, and they need their own separate power supply. We have 2 tweeters, we have 2 super tweeters, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4 power supplies for the tweeters. So the big question, is this worth 3.6 million euros? Well, let me tell you this. I once read a review, maybe some 25 years ago, and if I remember correctly it was about the Audionote Ongaku, Audionote Japan. And at the time it was almost unheard of to have equipment that was around $500,000. And this reviewer asked himself the same question. Is this worth $500,000? Now at that time the extreme prices were somewhere around $100,000 to $200,000. So his question was, is this worth $300,000 more? And his answer was very straightforward. And he said, I can't say if this is worth $300,000 more, but I can tell you that none of the $200,000 amplifiers are better. And this system reminds me of that. Every single piece of electronics in this system has been designed to achieve the lowest amount of distortion and vibration. And the result is an incredibly clean, fast and super dynamic sound that is just unmatched if you ask me. Now there are many very expensive systems at this year's Munich High End, but if you ask me, none of them achieve this level of live sound as this system does. Now, some audiophiles like to say that they want to get as close as possible to a live performance, and if you ask me, it just does not get any closer than this. By the way, the normal Dragon system, this is the Super Dragon, costs around $1.08 million. In comparison, you don't get these subwoofers and only one tweeter and one super tweeter, and this of course also reduces the amount of equipment, but one special feature of this particular set is the paint on the horns. Now, this is done with a very expensive lacquer technique with gold underlay, and it took some 15 months and 6 artists to complete this one set of loudspeakers. And I guess you have to pay for that also. So I can't tell you if this is worth 3.6 million euros, but I can tell you that there is nothing like it on the market.